Hey, what's up, guys? Adam here. And so I'm just going to answer a quick question. One of the members, Kip Johnson, here in the group, had asked me a question on how do I deliver these home price evaluations, which I think is a great question because I don't think I've answered that yet. Shutting my door here. No interruptions. So great question, Kip. And I appreciate you bringing it to my attention because honestly, sometimes I've done these things so many times that I can go through this process very quickly and sometimes assume that certain things are obvious. Not that this is by any means. I think this is a great question because this was a challenge that when I first started doing these, as you can tell, we're on the RPR, the Realtors Property Resource, rather, and the web address is NAR RPR. Your MLS may not have this. It should. I mean, most people do. And if you don't, let me know. We can figure out another way. But obviously, used to, I would have someone either in my office, one of my team members, or at the time when I first was running this, it was really just me. And I would take the time to actually put these things together myself, which was kind of a pain in the ass, especially when you'd never seen the property in some cases. So people are going to answer to your ad a few different ways, right? That's why we give them options to say, are you actually interested in selling? Are you just curious? Because some people don't really care. I've honestly had people fill these things out where they bought the home like 2 months ago and they're just, maybe they think they overpaid, or maybe they just want to see, hey, did I get a good deal? Or they just want to have fun with it. That's totally cool too. I even leave an option in there for people to say, I'm looking and thinking about refinancing because, if you're working any type of referral-based system in your business, it's always good to be able to say, hey, if someone's refinancing, kick something off to a lender partner of yours, maybe an appraiser, right? Something like that to keep the affinity between you and referral partners going. So I leave that option in there as well. But for the most part, even if people say they're just curious, a lot of times they are actually interested in selling. And so here's what I'll do. The first thing first, most of the time my team does this now, but the first thing we'll do is we'll reach out, right? So as soon as we get the lead, especially if they say they're selling, we're going to reach out right away and figure out what their situation is, right? And the conversation is typically like this. We reach out and we'll say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, Adam Stark here with the Adam Stark Home Selling Team. Hey, listen, just wanted to say thank you. First off, received your home price evaluation request. So we got the information here, but I had a couple questions I wanted to be sure that we were clear on before we got started so we can ensure that we're getting you the most accurate valuation possible. Do you have just a few moments to talk about this, right? So usually they're going to say, yeah, sure, go ahead. And so we'll say, and I'll kind of go down the list of things. So it looks like, you're stating here that your home is 2,000 square feet. You got 3-bed, 4-bath, right? Whatever. We're kind of going down the list here a little bit. And to say, well, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, the main reason why I'm reaching out too is because, for some people who fill these forms out, there's a few different reasons. And some people are just curious. They don't really care. They're just having fun with it, which is totally cool. It still helps us out. And we're certainly happy to provide the evaluation, and we'll do that. But for other folks, they're actually thinking about selling their home. And for those instances and for those individuals, right, we want to ensure that we're getting them the most accurate valuation we possibly can. And so here you stated on your form that you were thinking about selling. And so tell me a little bit more about the situation. Are you thinking about selling this year? Where are you at in the process? And kind of let them tell you what's going on. And they say, yeah, we're thinking about selling or whatever else. So say, okay, cool. So here's whatever they tell you. It doesn't really matter, right? We're just kind of getting and gathering as much information as we can. You may want to establish some point of motivation. But in this particular call, we're not trying to sell them. We're not trying to tell them why we're the best. We're not trying to list their home, right? We just want to figure out their situation so we can kind of be better geared to close on them when the time's right. So in this case, I might say, hey, well, so here's the deal. We want to make sure, and they'll say, hey, I figured that was the case. You'd mentioned that you were selling. And so this is really the reason why we wanted to reach out to you, because most people, if they're in your situation, they want to know exactly what their home's worth. And really the only way for us to tell that, to give you that type of stamp of accuracy on this evaluation report is to come out and actually get our eyes on the property, right? And so this is no rush, no obligation on our part, or on your part rather. But, if you had a few moments either today or, maybe tomorrow evening or whatever, right, set a time with them, for us to come out and take a look at the property, that would give us the information we need to best provide you the information you're going to need to ensure that you're getting the most amount of money out of your home and maximizing the equity that you currently have in the property. So then kind of set the time, you go out and you do your initial walkthrough on the home. From that point, that they're selling, right? And so once you get out to the property, you do your walkthrough. Again, you're kind of gathering some information. Then at that point, I may be looking to get from them a little bit more of why they're wanting to sell, what the motivation is, et cetera, the time frames, what their price expectancies are, et cetera. And then obviously bring them back to my office. I like to do all my listing appointments here in the office. And the reason being is because I feel like I have a little bit more It kind of sets you up a little bit easier here, I think, as opposed to, I don't know about you guys, but let's see if I can remember my username and password here. This thing had logged me out. So honestly, I'm going to hit my wife up. Check your credentials again, close, sign and failed. Goodness gracious, I probably should have had myself logged in before I went in here. Honestly, my wife, here we go. Looks like I'm gaining some ground. There we go. My wife is up front, the one that does all these now. So I'll get to that in just a moment. So we're logged into this system. I'm going to get to it. So basically, once you've done your walkthrough, you bring it back, and that's when you're going to get into the listing presentation, right? You want to go ahead and list the home. And by that point, you've honestly pre-framed yourself as this expert, right? And I like to do the listing appointments here because we've all probably been in a listing appointment in someone's home when like the dogs are nipping at your ankles, the kids are acting crazy, everyone's trying to eat dinner, the TV's on. There's a lot of distractions going on. I used to do more of a one-step method. And if you're, let's say, cold calling for sale by owners, I highly suggest you do that. It's very difficult to work your way into the door and then convince them that they need to come back to your office to get into a conversation that they really didn't want to have. So if you're doing this method, though, people have reached out to you. They're giving you permission to come over. And, I would say, hey, let's come back to my office after this. Let's sit down so we can go over this report in detail and ensure that, you understand clearly what's going on. Because, again, our main objective here is to provide you with the most accurate information possible because it's extremely important that you have this so that when you do put your home on the market, you're going to maximize, the value and protect as much equity as possible. And we want to show you how to do that. So then when they come back, you can get into your listing presentation. But for the folks who are just curious, or if they're not thinking about selling anytime, say, well, we're thinking about maybe in the next 6 months to a year, we just kind of want to know, or whatever the case is, we still want to give them the evaluation, and for a few reasons. One, I've actually had someone here recently who reached out to us who had filled out the evaluation about a year ago. And, she mentioned that, hey, you requested the evaluation. You had instantly sent it to us. You had reached out and just to ensure that we got it and to clarify details. And then you never bothered us again, right? So we got some emails and stuff. We sent emails, and it's more of a soft approach. Not necessarily looking to close them, but just kind of a soft approach to remember us. And she really appreciated the fact that we weren't overly pushy about it because she wasn't interested in selling at that point. No crap. I don't know if you can't see this here. I've literally got the listing agreement right here in my hand. This gal had come in. We've been talking for about a month, and she just came in last night, actually, and listed her property, which is pretty cool. So when it comes to people who are just curious, here's the way we're going to do. So if you have this resource, this is the coolest thing you could possibly do. And so let's come in here and say, I want to generate a report, right? So you log yourself in here, you come into a report, and then up here, this is one that we just did yesterday, actually. As you can see here, 211. They don't save very long. They usually clear out pretty quick. But this is one that my wife just did yesterday for somebody. And as a matter of fact, I can show you here. I had a forward one from her email that came in yesterday. Right here. So we got another person who filled out a form here. So we're going to be reaching out to this individual today. I just forwarded that to myself 3 hours ago. So yes, I was up at like 3:30 a.m. So we come here, let's say we want to go into an address, and I'm just going to say like, I don't know. Well, let's just do this one here. We'll just resubmit this report. That's fine. So we submit to put in the address, you hit submit. And oops, I want to change the address. All right, let's do my brother's address here. So then we come in here, we pick our report, come down here, and we want to run our report. So I typically do the property report. If you want to see examples of this, you can say, show me a sample, and you can scroll through the pages and see. It's a very detailed report. The cool thing is this thing will literally generate this in like no time flat. And then, so it generates the report. And then typically what we do, if I were to log into my wife's email, so I'm just sending them this in an email. It's super quick. So this thing's going to shut down here in just a moment. It literally takes minutes, and it'll generate this report. And once it's done, it looks like this. So we send them this link. So we click on the report when it's done. I'll copy this link, and I'll usually take it to Bitly, which is just a URL shortener. It just looks a little better. Like for here, for instance, this property is on, and I would want to log in, but you can actually log in and change the URL. So it could be like bit.ly/ and you could put like 136 Bolton, right? The address of the property. But this is the link that I'm going to send them. So I copy this link, go into an email, and then I send it to them. And then when they open it, it'll look like this here. So they can pull this up and they can go through the property. And it's, like I said, it's very cool, very detailed, shows them a lot of different information. And it looks like you have spent a large amount of time generating this report, and it literally just goes in seconds. For the people just interested, you're giving them something of value. You've collected their information. They're going to be put into the follow-up campaigns for the individuals who have completed all tasks. You've got the follow-up campaign that can go in. And again, this thing will finalize it here in just a moment. Then you've got your report. And you don't have to really do much. You just send it over to them. So that's the best way, I think, to handle it. Hopefully that's clear. So there it is right there. So it downloads the report, and we'd capture that link and send it over to them. Let me see here. I'll actually log in and show you. Kind of the email that we use. I used to like run them back through, and it'd be a video of me, and it would kind of just be a re-explanation of, it was a funnel, and it would kind of be a re-explanation of why, you know, I would try to explain to them that, hey, we've never seen, for these just curious folks, right? We've never seen, there's a few been here. Basically, it would just, whoops. Basically, it's just going to say something along the lines like it does in this email, which as promised, here's this below. And personally, thank you for the opportunity. Keep an eye out for my copy of my book, because they'll always get, for instance, for the people who heard in the video, I am going to be giving an opportunity to create, recreate my book. So I send them out a copy of my book so they get something of value there. As we said in the training, you know, we're all sending them something of value. And then I always put here, I've run out of on-hand copies, so new ones are in production, just because in case it takes a little bit longer than a couple of days to get there, I try to set that bar of expectation. But basically, this email just goes here, report here. Now, I used to put in a funnel link that would drive them to a video. This just takes them straight to the report, as I showed you here. So it would used to take them to a video, and then below would just be a button that says access your report, and the button would just redirect them to here. And essentially, you know, that video would say, hey, again, we can't guarantee the accuracy. We appreciate it, but just keep in mind that if you're not happy with the evaluations report, I mean, we're happy to come out and give you a full evaluation. This is just something we're going off of based upon the limited information that we had. And then obviously, I'll also say if you are interested in selling your home, you may want to know more about my guaranteed sale program, and you can visit workwithadam.com to find out more about that. Right. So that would just kind of be a re-information, sort of a call to action to have them go and check out the next phase in my funnel process. So anyways, that's the way I deliver it. It's the easiest way I found possible. I pass it off. I mean, it's my wife up front, but before that, I had virtual assistants that would do this for me. I went to like Odesk. I mean, there's a lot of places. I don't think it's called Odesk anymore, but there's a lot of places you can go and hire virtual assistants that you can literally pay, you know, pretty low amounts of money to do these like piddly little jobs, and takes it off your plate. So that's the way to do it. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks, guys.